Welcome to The Complete Athlete, a series for athletes who first understand the importance that mental toughness plays in their sport. Second, who want to have more control over their emotions, both on and off the field. Third, for athletes who want to decrease their chance of injury. And finally, this series is for athletes who want to increase their mobility, coordination, endurance, and overall strength. Every podcast in this series covers the key components a successful athlete needs mentally and will be followed by either a short clip targeting the most common problem areas for athletes or a full yoga class that helps connect mind and body, helping create the complete athlete. For more information, go to www.ishawarriors.com/complete athlete info. This is Monday Mindset with Isha Warriors, episode 24, Someone Before Something. Aloha! My name is Ali Lothane. I've been empowering and inspiring others through yoga for over 15 years, specializing in yoga for teens. If you are ready to live life to the fullest and love it along the way, let's enjoy the journey together. Happy Monday, y'all. This episode, Someone Before Something, is the first of our Yoga for Athletes series. So in the weeks ahead, there's going to be a lot of sports analogies and references, and every single podcast will apply to every single person listening. I promise, it's true, because the principles I will teach can pertain to any circumstance. So for those of you who aren't into playing sports, I would ask you to just sub out that word for whatever your passion is right now in life. For those of you who are joining me for the first time because you have started in on the Yoga for Athletes series, welcome. I am so proud of you for taking the time to cultivate your mind and focus on your mindset and coupling that with the physical. You will definitely find that being the boss of the brain is going to bless you on the field, on the court, wherever you're at. All right. For those of you who just enjoy listening to this podcast, why not level up your game and try out Isha Warriors today? You can just go by the Yoga for Athletes series. In fact, you can type in athlete, ATHLETE. Hope I spelled that right, all capital letters, and get $20 off that price if you just want to try out the 6-week series and see how it all goes. All right. So when I began preparing for the Yoga for Athletes series months ago, the first thing I did was I prayed and I asked God, what is the most important thing you want athletes to know? Like, where do I begin? Help them know their worth. That was the impression I received again and again. Know your worth. In an atmosphere highly competitive with trophies and prizes and titles and all the things constantly in front of you and around you and being drilled into you. Do you know your worth? It isn't surprising that I happened upon a TED Talk from 2019 by Jane Mortison, and it's entitled, What Gives Athletes the Edge? And her answer might be surprising to you. Jane is an expert in sports psychology and mental training. She has coached national teams and world-class athletes. And do you know what she said? The number one thing that gives elite athletes the edge? You have to become someone before you become something. When you dig deep and discover who you want to be, and then everything else falls into place. She says that she coaches athletes all the time who are in a slump or not performing to their potential, and she always starts with this principle: become someone before something. It is crucial to get clear about what your values are and to live those values. To experience great joy and satisfaction in your sport as well as in your life, it is vital to understand the difference between your worth and your title, your status, your state ranking, your position on the team, your awards and accolades, and so on and so on. Your worth is your someone. The title you hold or the position you play is your something. The process of knowing yourself, acknowledging your unique strengths, and improving your weaknesses is becoming someone, versus focusing on statistics and outcomes and results. Those are all some things. Jane Mortison says that nothing will ruin a kid faster than focusing on the results. Results are the something, remember? And when you make results be the thing that matters most, it raises the level of pressure and subsequently the likelihood of anxiety and depression setting in. We want to understand our worth, and we want to stay in a mindset that helps us thrive in this life, whether we are winning or losing, whether we're on top of the world or drowning in the depths of a trial. So listen in, y'all. Today, I'm going to talk about what it means to figure out your why, 2, establishing what your values are, 3, living your values once you've established them, and 4, never forgetting you are more than just a uniform. Chris Bosh, a former NBA star, wrote an awesome book entitled Letters to a Young Athlete. And I'm going to make sure I put the link to his book as well as the TED Talk that I referenced earlier into the show notes today. As a professional basketball player for almost 20 years, Chris Bosh understands the need to become someone before becoming something really well. Chapter 2 in his book is entitled, You Have to Find Your Why, and It Can't Be Fame or Money. I had been writing notes about what I wanted to say to you on this subject for weeks, and then I found this book, and this chapter embodies what I want to convey to you so perfectly that I am actually going to read straight from the book for a little bit. So buckle up, story time. Letter number 2, You Have to Find Your Why, and It Can't Be Fame or Money. From Chris Bosh. I told you before about the coach who pulled me aside in the high school. What do you want to do with this, Chris? He asked me. It was a good question, and it helped me steer the course of my life. He wanted to know the answer to a question so many coaches take for granted. What was I doing this for? Could I see beyond the next game, the next season, and really think about the role I wanted basketball to play in my life? Could I really look beyond the work I was putting into the game and think about the purpose I was putting it all of it in for? All of it. You know what I mean. Getting in reps in the weight room when your friends are partying, waking up before dawn to run, pushing through the criticism or the doubters, getting back on the court after a full practice or a game when all of your muscles are telling you to quit, and shooting 100 more free throws. What is all of that for? Maybe my coach could have put it like this. Why are you doing this, Chris? Why are you at practice right now? Why are you working so hard? Why are you committing to the life of an athlete? And don't just say to win the state championship, because you need to think bigger than that. I want to ask the same question. What is your why? You are lucky to be where you are at right now, so early in your athletic career. Whether it becomes an actual career or just a lifelong hobby, you still have time to figure out your why and to live by it. Because believe me, there's nothing sadder than watching someone going through the motions with no real idea about why they're doing it. Those people aren't living their own lives, their own dreams. At best, they're living someone else's. You still have time to do better. So, what is your why? I've been around the game for most of my life, and you'd be surprised how many really talented people can't answer that question. They might look like they're in charge on the court, but inside, they're passive. They've let other people make up their whys for them. My dad signed me up. Coach said I'd make a good power forward. I guess I was always good at it, so I kept doing it. You can spend your whole life living out someone else's goals and dreams for you without ever coming up with dreams of your own. So sure, listen to your coach when he tells you to run suicides, but don't listen when he or she tries to tell you what this game means to you. You got to figure that out for yourself. It can't just be that you're tall. It can't just be that someone signed you up for a sport because they thought it would be a good outlet for your energy or something to do after school. That's a great start. But I'm asking you to really think. It can't be that your heroes got rich and famous playing the game. You need to go deeper. If you say, I'm doing this because I want to win basketball games. Why? Because I want to win a championship. Okay, why is that important to you? Because then people will look up to me. Why is that important to you? You see what I mean? When you ask enough whys, it gets deep real quick. Beneath your reasons for hitting the gym at 7 a.m. on a Saturday, you'll find some idea of who you want to be in this world, of what really matters to you, if you dig deep enough. In the book Start With Why, Simon Sinek argues that the clarity of why is behind most of the biggest successes, whether in business or politics or culture. If you ask a leader from a successful company what they're ultimately selling, they won't name a product. They'll give you a why, an intangible something that draws customers in. Apple isn't selling computers. It's the idea of think different. Southwest isn't selling airline tickets. It's selling the idea that travel and adventure can be for regular people too. Right? I know you aren't a company, but you have to think about your mission statement. Beneath all the outward signs of success, what's the motivating force that pushes you to give your all? It can't be about going pro. It can't be about getting rich. It can't be about getting your own shoe. I've had those things, and sure, they're fun, but they're not enough. As we've talked about, this journey you're on is really, really hard. It might seem like that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow is enough to keep you pushing on through the hardest parts of this journey, but it just isn't enough. All the rewards of success aren't whys. They're more like hows. They're tools for getting you where you want to go, but they're not the destination. So what is a why? Knowing, not just thinking, but knowing that you're making the most of your God-given talents. The joy of operating at the peak of your ability. The joy of being part of a team that runs like a well-oiled machine. For me, a big part of my why was the squeak of shoes on the gym floor. I just love that sound. The actual smell of the gym. I love the sensation of straining my muscles and feeling the strength in them. It's trusting that your teammate is going to be where you think he's going to be when you whip him a pass, and then he is. It's the hand helping you up off the floor when you're down. It's the swish of the ball through the net, the anticipation surging through your body in the seconds before tip-off, the feeling of the blood pounding through your body as the seconds tick down in a close game. I remember distinctly one day when I was in 4th grade at Hutchins Elementary. We were waiting to play organized basketball for the first time, and I felt this intense excitement. I played the game before, obviously, but usually with my friends on the playground with no scoreboards. There was something in me that just feeling like, wow, basketball. I played my heart out during the game, and the next days we got ready to play again, I heard people saying, hey, Chris Bosch is good. Chris Bosch can play. Even one of the teachers had noticed. I was being seen. I was showing what I could do. It was just the perfect intersection of something I was good at and recognition and validation for the work I was putting in. A few weeks later, I started playing organized basketball. Word had spread and a coach sought me out. I've been lining up to play ever since, for the love of it, for the opportunity to show what I can do. But as I said, it's deeper than that. What I began to understand later was that it wasn't about attention. It was that I had capabilities and talents, like all kids do. And when I put in the efforts to realize them, I could do incredible things. That to become who you are in sports, in life, in business, is the loudest statement a person can make. That's my why. It's me saying, this is who I am. This is what I can do with what God and my parents gave me. It's me challenging the other athletes on the court, on my team, asking them to show me what they can do. Together, we become the best we can be. Now, I'm not saying you can't win with materialistic motives. Of course you can. My dad had a conversation with me when I was 12 years old. He said to me, hey, look, I can't pay for college. I'll tell you that right now. You should keep playing basketball. That's great. You can get a scholarship playing ball. I appreciated that honesty. It gave me clarity and it gave me a why. Part of why I played was to get that scholarship. He helped me see basketball as a way to do something. He was saying, I can see you love this game and you've loved it since you were a boy. And because of that love, it can help you get a scholarship and go to a good school. I'm better for having that extra motivation, but I meant it when I said it was only extra. Need is necessary, but not sufficient in this life. Proof? There are plenty of talented kids who had everything they needed to make it, who had every financial incentive in the world to make it. For some reason, can never be bothered to put in the work or care enough to get it. Fame, popularity, sure, those are fun, but they don't last either. Here's an experiment. I'm going to list off some names and I want you to see how many people you recognize. David Thompson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Dennis Johnson, George McGinnis, Paul Westphal, Marcus Johnson, Maurice Lucas, Walter David, Jack Sikma, Artis Gilmore, Otis Birdsong. I just listed out the NBA Western Conference All-Stars from 1979, the most famous and popular players in the league. Yeah, you probably know Kareem, but the rest of them? Their fame didn't even last 30 years. Try pulling up a hip-hop playlist on Spotify from the 90s or another decade. How many of those songs have you heard of? Right? Biggest names in music, people who won Grammys, gone and forgotten. So, don't make your why be popularity or fame. Knowing that you have a gift that only you can share, doing something in a unique way that only you can do, now that's a why. An answer that works whether you're winning or losing. Besides, if you've ever seen a sports movie, you know that winning isn't guaranteed to solve your problems. Everyone roots for the Mighty Ducks, the Bad News Bears, the underdogs. If you want to win so you'll be liked, you may end up surprised. You might end up getting just the opposite, because the favorite doesn't always make you the fan favorite. In fact, we love rooting for the people who fail. And even if money and fame and popularity were good short-term motivators, what do you think is going to happen when you get them? Even rookie contracts are often life-changing money, but the best players keep going. Serena Williams will never have to work another minute in her life, and yet she's working every day, not just on her game, not just on her body, but on multiple companies she owns. Serena had more money than she could ever need, plus 23 Grand Slam titles, second most of all time. She then came back after her pregnancy to continue being one of the top players in tennis. Why? Because she has a much bigger why than living that life. One of the more common whys I see, and it's one I sympathize with, is the drive to prove people wrong, or to prove to the world that you matter, that you didn't deserve what happened to you early in life, that you're more than just where you came from, that the haters need to sit down. There's a part of all of us that uses success in sports to keep from ever feeling small. If you have self-esteem issues, or if you came from a broken home, the roar of the crowd can be kind of a substitute love. A basketball court can be like a home where you feel valued. But again, that is short-lived. Victory gets old and unsatisfying real fast without a purpose you can be proud of. If you make anger your why, it'll suck the joy out of everything you accomplish, even if you win as much as Jordan. But here's the thing about a good why. It can endure through the ups and downs of life, even when everything around you is falling apart. Your what can be taken away from you in an instant. Your why can outlast that. I think about athletes who are so talented, who met with accidents or debilitating trials. I see guys who clearly had a deeper why than just the superficial stuff. They had to. Okay, when someone like Bobby Hurley, came back to basketball after a life-threatening injury, that's inspiring. But what's more inspiring to me is to know that even if he didn't make it back, he still would have found a way to live a life of meaning and purpose, because he understood that there was life beyond and besides basketball. Do you? Do you understand that there's life beyond and besides the sport you play? That there are other ways to benefit from the game besides being the ultimate star? What are you playing for? What do you want to accomplish with the game, through the game? What doors do you want this game to open for you? Who do you want to be on the court and in life? And of course, you're growing and changing as you play the game. And it's fine for your why to change as you grow. Hopefully, it'll get deeper and more mature as you get deeper and more mature. Before I developed a real love of the game, the kind of love that can sustain you through injury, adversity, and failure, I just wanted to spend time with friends on the playground, shooting hoops. Whys change and evolve just like people do. The key is to never invest your why in something external that can be taken away by a power beyond your control. It has to be deeper than winning and losing or getting some free money to pay for college. It's got to connect to your soul. It's got to connect you to something bigger than yourself. Don't you love what he had to say? I ask you today, why are you playing your sport? Do you understand that there is life beyond the court and the field, the arena, the stage, the racetrack on which you currently play? If you do not have an answer, then this is the thing you need to learn today, because it will help you become better for tomorrow. Knowing your why will bring renewed motivation to your training, more passion for your game, and fuel your determination more than any coach's pep talk. Knowing your why helps you understand what you value in life. I have been asking a lot of teen athletes what they value in life, and I want to share with you what they shared with me. Maybe it can get you started in that journey of self-discovery, kind of get the juices flowing here. When I asked them what they valued, they told me that they valued family, God, honesty, discipline, fun, community, their friends. They valued respect, humility. They valued integrity, hard work. They valued their dog. They valued just playing the game. They loved it. And many of them shared how focusing on those values helped them get through hard times when they were injured, or when fellow teammates were mean, or when they moved again and again and had to deal with a lot of change. Evander Holyfield, who is a professional boxer, once said, "It's not the size of the man, but the size of his heart that matters." What do you value? Okay, so the first question you're asking yourself is, what is your why? What is your why for playing your sport? And then I want you to think about, what do you value? My daughter has a really big heart. She values cheering people on. It simply makes her happy and lifts her spirits when she is able to lift others. When we ran our last half marathon, she waved more to the bystanders and got them to smile more than the other way around. The importance she places on uplifting others carried her through last season when she was injured and she couldn't compete. She still derived great joy standing on the sidelines, yelling her head off, cheering on her teammates as they sprinted to the finish line. When you come up with your whys, like Krish Boss said, they need to connect to your soul. And when you're coming up with your values, they need to be things you can control. For example, if you say, I value making my parents proud of me, you are standing on slippery ground, not rooted in something you have control over. Please listen very closely. You cannot make your parents feel proud of you. You could be a straight A student and an all-star athlete, and your parents could still look at you with a critical eye and tell you, oh, you could do better. That has everything to do with their own lack of self-esteem, their insecurities and issues, and nothing to do with you. You can value being proud of yourself and showing up each time to play with all your heart, win or lose. Now that is absolutely a value that will serve you throughout your life. Parents, what whys and values are you projecting onto your children? Are you trying to live vicariously through them or glean validation and recognition through their titles and accomplishments? To all my coaches listening to this, I would ask you that same question. Okay? Do we cheer our athletes on every time they fail and get back up again and recognize their strengths, or only remind them of their weaknesses and cheer them on when they succeed? What words do we use to help our athletes move from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset? From basing their worth on things and status and titles to knowing their worth is infinite and unchangeable, regardless of those things and status. Do you really listen to your athlete when they try to tell you what is important to them? Let us never forget how much easier it is to be a bystander. I remember one particularly hot, humid cross-country meet after school. I was standing by a parent who just kept saying things like, oh, my son could do so much better and try harder. Geez, it's almost embarrassing to watch. I never would have played like this back when I competed. I kept my tone lighthearted and simply replied, yeah, it can be hard when you'd give anything to be out there on that field as a teen again, huh? I tell you what, though, I went running in this heat yesterday afternoon, and it was pure misery. There's no way I could even run at half the speed these kids are doing today. I'm just so proud they showed up to compete at all. And I meant it. Absolutely. So proud of each athlete there that was running with all they could in that hot, sticky heat. And that parent stopped ragging on her son in front of me. So there's that. Parents, let's really be mindful of what we say and how we say it to our athletes, lest we reinforce those counterproductive mindsets that make our kids feel like they must compromise what feels right for them, that they are failures if they don't live up to a certain standard. They are not enough if they don't get the things. Our athletes are someone before they are something. Athletes and parents alike, both your whys and your values need to be more than result-based goals or materially measured stuff. Sports can bring out the best of people. Absolutely. We see ordinary people who overcome fear and self-doubt and do great things. But never forget that sports are the catalyst, not the creator. That greatness lies within each athlete, regardless of if they are wearing a uniform or not. Let's never forget that sports are the catalyst, not the creator of that greatness. That greatness lies within each athlete, regardless of if they are wearing a uniform or not. Sports can be an incredible place for us to learn and grow, to create hard work ethic, learn how to socialize with our peers, learn about commitment, etc. And it isn't the end all of life. Once you know your whys and your values, make sure you incorporate them into your life. For example, if having fun is important to you and you value fun, you need to figure out how to keep things light and fun in your training and on the field. If you value integrity, be prepared to choose courage over comfort and standing up for what is right, even if you stand alone. If you value family, spend meaningful time with them. If you value leadership, study what makes a great leader. I was talking to a teen last month, and she said, I used to be a cheerleader. And I said, used to be? She said, yeah. She went on to tell me how she'd done gymnastics and cheer from a young age, but that the coach and the team that she was a part of was so toxic that right before her junior year, she decided to quit. It was not an easy decision. Cheer had been her whole life, her social outlet, her everything. But she valued her mental health. She knew she needed to find an alternative to keep thriving. She could have found a different team. She could have done a lot of things. But she went on to tell me excitedly how she had found show choir, how her cheer background had helped her to do the choreography with ease, and that the people in that space were incredibly uplifting and supportive, just what she needed. She said her high school experience now is a totally different one. She is happier. It was the right decision for her. Trust yourself. Listen to your gut. Be proud of who you are becoming. Remember, you are more than just your uniform. You can achieve amazing feats with or without a numbered jersey on. Diversify your interests. Carve out time to try things totally outside of sports. Cultivate your mind. Being well-rounded helps you not get burned out in the sport that you love, and it adds depth of character and perspective. I grew up cheering for my friends on the Highland rugby team. They had an incredible winning streak and were a force to be reckoned with. They even made a movie about them called Forever Strong. Coach Gelwicks had a mission statement. He was famous for saying, "It's not about rugby, it's about young men. It's not about building a championship team, it's about building championship boys, boys who will be forever strong. I want you to be forever strong on the field so that you will be forever strong off the field." Larry Gelwicks was a coach who saw the infinite worth in his players. He tried to teach his players about finding their whys and figuring out about what they valued and then living those values. He would even have former rugby players write letters to current rugby players to encourage them and to give them perspective beyond the current rugby season. He knew that as he helped them develop their values and their whys, it made them stronger as a person and as a team. And it showed in their winning streak. I love talking with teen athletes and hearing all the things they love about the sport that they play. And I always make a point of asking them, well, what else do you love to do? Chemistry, art, musicals, reading, science, baking, robotics, hiking, working with animals, playing video games, just hanging out. There are so many things that make up your identity. You are so much more than just something. You are someone of infinite worth. Print off that journal entry I've included in the series. Take time to dig deeper and figure out your why. Write down what you value and how you're going to live those values each day in your life. And give yourself time to figure out who you are. Speak your truth in a really respectful, loving way, and you will find your tribe. And you will feel rich satisfaction in the sport that you play and in the life that you lead. You are someone before you are something. Every time. Let that truth motivate you to play the game you were meant to play. See you next week. Thanks for listening in today. If what you heard resonated with you, let me continue to uplift, love, and inspire you through the online yoga classes I teach at ishawarriors.com. Isha Warriors is a one-of-a-kind platform created just for teens and accessible to the whole family. We offer chair yoga, beginner's yoga, all levels vinyasa and restorative, so yoga can meet you and your family's needs wherever you're at on your journey. If you enter in the code podcast30, that's podcast in all capital letters 30, you'll receive $30 off the annual teen membership. The first week is free, so why wait another minute to bring more peace and confidence into your life? See you on the mat.